we don't want any extra capacity,
Right.
you know, but it will be expandable, right? So later, if they decide that maybe they need to expand it for Ivy Ridge or whatever, then that might be something later, but that's gonna be a whole process and public and, yeah, and I mean, I can't speak for the board, but I highly doubt that they would require people who have a septic to tie in.
Again, that could be modified.
Yeah, and it could
Right,
be changed, and I imagine that would be a huge discussion point when we ever,
Yeah.
if we ever get to that point.
So again, I do my homework, so I researched other townships, and you're right, it's 150 feet. If you're within it, you must connect into it. And it's, if you have a working septic, you're okay, but once it fails, there's no option for the sand mount again. You're now tying into public sewer.
And usually that's for a very good reason, because usually if you've got a septic system like, a treatment plant like that, it's because your soils are not very good,
Mhm.
and you don't want someone to wind up spending a lot of money for something that ultimately you won't get a lot of service out of.
Sure.
Okay, so, two other things real quick, that I wanted to pass out, especially since there's a big crowd here, is I could easily see someone saying something like, well, geez, why would you design it, a sewer plant that's not larger to be able to handle, you know, additional flows? And the easiest way to explain that is the phrase, you know, if you build it, they will come. And clearly, the board has expressed that they're not interested in that. You build it so that it's expandable, but you don't wanna make it easy for anyone to build.
Right.
Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to mention was the zoning map. Regardless if the zoning map has been updated since '08, and I don't even really know what that
Right.
is. That does not necessarily mean that zoning changes have not occurred within the township, but just simply zoning districts may not have changed. I think the last time we did that was the comp plan. And that,
Yeah,
I think it was more recent than '08, so that might give you an idea that it
right,
didn't need to change.
but that's
then.
why I brought my map from home and I compared it, and
Mm-hmm.
along the corridor, nothing changed.
Right.
So.
But that, I wanted to let you know that you can update things in the zoning ordinance, okay, that could impact future development, but not
Right.
necessarily update your zoning map.
Okay, so that's what I was hoping we would do, tighten all this up.
Well, and that's,
To
I think that's,
discourage.
yeah, exactly, that has been number one goal, which is why I said about, you know, wanting to, before that application is made, because then they'd be under current. We wanna get that, those changes done.
Absolutely. Okay.
I know I have a question. So this discharge water that comes out of these pipes, this is new for me, over at Ivy Ridge and at Frederick Living. The DEP checks
I
this?
check that very often.
How often?
Very, Tracy'd be able to tell you better than I, again, I don't.
It could be like every month or two, but also we have operators, well, we don't handle Frederick Living, so the township handles Ivy Ridge and Perkiomen Crossing. So we have an operator on site pretty much every day, at least for a couple hours. He does all the required DEP testing. So, you know, when DEP comes out, you know, they're just making sure that everything is still in compliance. And Matt gave his report tonight, he's our operator, and he said no violations this month. So,
Yeah, they'll check the books and things like that. But yeah, they do pretty close to. Excuse me.
Yeah, Ivy Ridge, so it's right into my heart. That's where it comes. So,
right.
Other public comments?
real quick, is there, for historical, is there a way to make one of those buildings declared historical? Because I know there's a lot of things by the state that has money in there, and grant money, once it's made. I mean, examples are perfect, just look at the Cobrookdale Railroad. They just gave $1 million to the Perkiomen Hotel down in Collegeville, which I don't know why you would do anything, because it floods every 3 weeks. But they're giving them $1 million for that, but it's considered historical now. so there's more funds opened up.
Yeah, so properties can be put on the National Register. I think that the property owner needs to be on board with that. I will say that, last year we purchased the schoolhouse at the entrance to the property, and, we did apply for a $100,000 grant to help us restore aspects of that. We're still waiting to hear. I'm hopeful that maybe that could help us to do some historic, restoration of the old schoolhouse.
Did you get an answer back on that from, as far as taxes? That's gotta go to county, because I talked to our CFO, and she says we don't have, Boyertown doesn't have the ability to say that, so.
Other public comments? Going once, twice, sold, end of the public comments. Okay, announcements, cancellation of the 2023 Swamp Creek Stomp. As you heard, fortunately, the Swamp Creek Stomp is canceled this year, so we do have a lot of folks here. Hey, I think the Parks and Rec team is always looking for help, so if you're interested in helping them, please reach out. Upcoming meetings. We gotta know here to check the website agenda. We have Parks Board meeting is March 21st at 7 p.m. Planning Commission meeting is March 30th at 7 p.m. Okay. With that, I will make a motion to adjourn our meeting. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye.
You probably don't know, it's gonna be a
So the whole thing is